Hello, hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hey, everybody. How you doing? There he is. There's George Kelly.
Wouldn't miss this one.
Love it. Y'all, if you can make sure that your cameras are on, we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. We have an amazing Wealth Building Wednesday planned for y'all today. We're so excited to have Linda McKissack here with us. Jen, good song.
Yes, it's called Powerful Women. I thought this was very appropriate for Linda.
I love it.
Well, should I be hearing it?
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you should. You can't hear
Oh,
it?
you know what? I got to turn the volume up. Good thing I checked. I wouldn't be able to hear what y'all are asking me.
Give everybody just another minute. If you have a celebration from the last time we've all met to celebrate your wealth building journey, please make sure to drop your name in the chat. I can come to you. I'd love to hear the progress y'all are making on increasing your wealth. Go. Some cameras on. I'm gonna get going here. All right. Welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? Susie said she just got her license, so here we go. Welcome, Susie. I love that. I love that. You are in for a treat today for your first Wealth Building Wednesday. Y'all know that I usually like to start off with celebrating any wealth building successes. So if you've had one, drop your name in the chat or share your update in the chat, and we're gonna get going. I do have a question though. I started on Monday when I met with all of the leaders of your market centers. I asked them the question. We're getting ready to go back to school soon. And so my question was, your first day of school, right? You're getting ready to go back. Were you super excited to go back to school? Like, oh my gosh, I got a new notebook, I got new pencils and paper, I'm ready to go? Or were you like, oh no, summer's over, I have to go back to school? So in the chat channel, I want to see your answers. Were you super excited to get going back to school, or were you like, oh no, I don't want to start school again? Let's see what you guys got. All right, what do we got here? Jen's, I love back to school. Me too. Oh no, Valerie. Excited, super pumped. Loved it. I was always excited as a student. But now you're a teacher, maybe not so much. Super excited. Loved learning. Yes, new clothes, new shoes. Excited. I learned this about Teresa Hawley. She's my right hand the other day, that she was always sad to go back to school because she was a summertime gal and she loved her pool. So.
Right. I then got into it, after like a month or two, I was like, whatever, we're in school, I'll enjoy it, but it's hard to get me there.
So it looks like in this group, most were excited. And George Kelly said, I love when my daughter goes back to school. No truer words, George, no truer words. Although I will say, oh my gosh, Becky says 8 kids, first day of school is awesome. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, 100%. I will say it was always really exciting for me to go back, but now that my son goes away to college, I'm a little bit sad when he has to go back, because I know there's going to be a couple of weeks before I get to see him again. So I think it's a mixed bag, but I think this team mostly leans towards getting excited. How about you, Linda? Were you excited to go back to school, or did you dread going back to school?
No, I think I was excited because my dad made us work in the summer with his tear down construction business. And so I'm sure I was excited to go back. But one of my favorite commercials is the Staples commercial where the children are all humped over and sad because school's about to start and the parents are clicking their heels together behind the buggy. Oh.
That's so true. It's so true. Well, I'm so glad that you are able to join us today. I was the team and I were talking before we let you all in, and we let Linda know that Linda was actually the first guest that we ever had when we launched Wealth Building Wednesday. And that goes all the way back to January of 2022. So we've been doing our Wealth Building Wednesdays now for over, 2.5 years, which is pretty incredible. And I know a lot of you are consistent people on these calls. I see Katie Broski's right in front of me, so I know she's consistent, and David Stillwell, I've seen you on several of these as well. So it was kind of cool that we get to welcome Linda back. And then in conjunction with that, I know some of you have joined our book clubs that we've been doing as a region. And our last book that we read was 10X is Easier Than 2X. And it just so happens that Linda's story is featured in that book as well. And we didn't even know that her story was featured. I didn't pick the book. It was always picked by the participants, Linda. So it was so cool that it all came together like that. It was like it was meant to be.
That's perfect. That's so good. I'm so glad.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know Linda, Linda is an entrepreneur. She found herself many years ago, her and her husband Jim, lacking financial resources to survive an economic downturn. She was forced to make a career shift, and in the early 1980s began her real estate career. She knowing nothing, so she came in completely blind. Over the years, she sought out mentors and coaches and has adopted systems and models that were proven to get her results. And she got results. And you're going to hear a little bit about her story today. Linda now owns multiple businesses that provide over $4 million a year in passive income that creates freedom for her time, her money, and relationships. Linda loves sharing her story, so she doesn't keep it private. She likes sharing her story to kind of inspire everybody else to take some of the maybe the same steps, or maybe give you a different way of looking at it. So Linda, I'm so excited that you're here with us today. I've known you for, I've been on the regional side now for 11 years. So I've been really privileged to be in the same rooms as you and Jim and the rest of your family. And I've learned so much from how you guys show up and just support each other. And I'm so excited that you're here with us today.
Well, truly my pleasure. Thank you so much. And, I guess really, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go through some slides, but what I really want to do is I want to answer any of your questions. I think we all flourish when we get ideas from other people that may spark something in us. I know that's how I've certainly got my inspiration over the years, but Jim and I really are just ordinary people. And I know sometimes when we hear people's success stories, we see ourselves as different. What I like to say is we compare our insides to their outsides. And what I really want you to think about today is, honestly, we're all more the same than we're different. And so anything you hear in my story, if you want it, you can accomplish it. Really all you have to do in life is find the people who have accomplished what you want to accomplish, and then ask, what did they do? How did they do that? And then actually just go start trying to implement what it is that they say that they did to accomplish that. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to take you guys on a journey. And what I don't want you to do is get it lost in, the numbers or how much it is. Just think about where you are and what you want your end result to be, and see if any of the things that we've accomplished inspire you in any way. And then at the end, I'm going to leave enough time that I want you to ask any questions. Don't worry about taking notes, because I'm going to give you a QR code to get you the slides so you can just have them, because you're going to get a lot of information and you won't remember it all. So you'll be able to get these slides and have them with you from now on. So you can reference back to them or do whatever, but I am going to do my best to share my screen.
What's that?
Let's see.
Dave is not.
I think this is it. I think, let's see. Can you guys see that? Yep. Okay, good. Well, so far, so good. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do it in presentation mode, I think. Slideshow, maybe. Let's do that. Let's try that one. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to talk about today is our journey from $600,000 in debt to $100 million, over $100 million in net worth. Okay. So whether your goal is 1 million net worth, 5 million net worth, 10 million, I'm sure you guys have worked a little bit on what, oh gosh, I didn't do this correctly. It's now like giving you a show. All right. So let me go here. Oh yeah, I knew this was going to happen. Okay. Let's go back. Let's escape. Yes, let's do that. All right. Yeah. You'll see my tech skills are not that great. All right. So,
Maybe click slideshow at the bottom.
well, I did slideshow and it started giving you a slideshow, started changing them. So what I want to do is go back, and maybe just do, let me see if what happens if I do enter full screen, but I still want to go back. Oh, yeah, that will do it right there. There we'll go. You guys can see it okay? Yep. Okay. So you can access the slides. So what I want you to do is think about, okay, if my first goal is 1 million in net worth, what parts of this could I do and apply to my life? Because really, Jim and I are just ordinary people that really just decided one day that we wanted an extraordinary life. And anybody on this call can do that. Anybody can say, how do I know where the limit is or how big a life I can build? Who has decided that in advance? No one can decide that for you. And none of us will know until we go out and try things, till we actually figure out how to experience things, fail our way forward, succeed, all of those things. We won't ever know what our full potential is. Okay, it's not. All right, let me click on this. Okay. All right. So who on this call wants to work because you want to, not because you have to? Give me a yes in the chat. If you want to work because you want to, not because you have to. Everything changes when you're working because you want to. You make your decisions differently. Your choices are simpler. Your life is less stressful. When we are in the grind of having, and believe me, when we were $600,000 in debt and I'm trying to figure out how to do production in real estate and I only made $3,000 gross my first year, I'm just figuring out how to work because I have to, right? But what we want to do is get our life to a place that we're really working because we want to, not because we have to, because we start to let up a little bit on the stress of everything and what we have to, decisions we have to make and what we have to do that day. And so it just helps you make better decisions when you are moving towards working because you want to. All right. So, I think unanimously everybody wants to do that, right? But here's the truth. If we don't understand what happens by default, we become one of those people. And the truth is if you follow 100 people, starting at the time they enter the workforce for 40 years until approximately the time they retire, here's what you're going to find. And by the way, we may know some of these people, right? One person will be wealthy. 4 will be financially secure. 5 will continue working, not because they want to, but because they have to. 36 will be deceased. And 54 will be broke and dependent on their family and friends and relatives. And I don't know about you guys, but I have some of those family and friends. And it feels real good to be able to step in that gap of them not being in opportunities to make enough money to sustain them for their whole life, or to give them the quality of life that they deserve for all that they poured into us over our lifetime. And so when you think about that, you have to decide on this chart, where do I want to fall? And, you know, as far as the 5 people that are continuing to working, if you notice at your grocery stores a lot, it's no longer the teenage kids, it's retired people who really need to supplement their income. And they're not working because they want to, they're working because they have to. So I think this is a real powerful statistic that says if we all choose to do nothing, we're going to fall in one of the, we're probably going to fall in a category that we don't really want to fall in. So here's how we're going to have a definition if we know we're wealthy. When your passive income exceeds the income necessary to fund your lifestyle and provide you the freedom of your time and money so that you can do what it is that's important to you, that's when you know you are where you need to be. Until you can if you can't answer, yes, I'm here, then we know we got to go back out and do a little bit more work in this wealth area, right? And so if you don't like the lifestyle that you have and you have a bigger lifestyle in mind, go off that number. Go for your passive income to be able to fund that lifestyle, not the one, if you don't like the one you have right now, right? Sometimes we don't really like the one we have. We want a better one. But really, way we should look at this in the real estate industry is what do I want my life to look like? Now, based on how big I want my life to be, that's going to tell me how many businesses or how big my business needs to be. And then based on that, I'm going to learn how many people I'm going to need on my team to make that happen. That's in reverse of how I started real estate. I started real estate saying, we're $600,000 in debt. I got to make some money fast. I never bothered at that moment to sit down and go, what kind of life do I want to lead that I want this real estate journey to end me up at? And now let's work it backwards and say, well, how big a business do I need to have? My real estate business might not be the only business I need to have the kind of life I want. I may have to have multiple businesses, you know, or I may have to make my real estate business way bigger than I was thinking I had to have it. So if we think about it in this way, it helps set us up to take the steps necessary to get that lifestyle that we really want. All right. So I'm going to kind of take you a little bit. This is a little bit of our path and our journey. And to be honest with you, when we first started, what made us really understand the importance of building wealth was when we lost that $600,000. We had to sell a business, and the day we sold it, we still owed $600,000, and somebody else gets the business. So it was a day that now all the bankers are starting to call us. My husband's stressing out. It's not a good day, but thank God he had the insight to tell me I should go sell real estate to help him out of this $600,000 hole. And guess what? Eventually he was right. Not in the beginning, but eventually he was right. But we picked up this book, and I love that you guys are reading books, because sometimes our answers are either in another person's story or they're in a book, and we can buy those books and we can read them, right? And we can hear ideas that spark our interest and spark our creativity and spark our hope, right? And so for us, that book was called Cash Flow Quadrant. I don't know if you guys have read it, Michelle. Have you guys read that book? So that was a game-changing book for us, because when we read that book, all of our income, you know how you have the E quadrant, the S quadrant on the left side, and you have on the right side, you have businesses and all of our money was coming from being self-employed. My husband was self-employed. I was self-employed as a realtor. We had money coming in from there. Well, here's the problem with money that comes from the left side. You're not in control. And you don't have a choice if the economy turns down, or if you're an employee, if the company goes out of business, whatever. So we saw in that book that over the life of our career, what we need to do is move as much of our income from the left side to the right side. And that was the one purpose we had. And we knew exactly in the beginning, our number was 250 that we were after, but it gave us a number and it gave us a start, and we were able to build a plan around it. So figure out what is that freedom number for you that you need to come up with, and then you can kind of work it backwards to what are your options to be able to do that. So the single family homes, we're still climbing our way out of the $600,000 in debt, but we've read Robert Kiyosaki's book. And what I love is once you know something, you can't pretend you don't, right? You have to pay attention to what I've learned. And I've learned that one of the things we needed to do was either have businesses, which by the way, we were just burnt from having a business. So that wasn't on the top of my list. But the next option, he says on the right side, is assets making you money. And real estate is one of those assets. And I'm thinking, well, I'm selling real estate now. Surely to goodness, I can figure out how to buy some of them. So I went on a listing presentation, and they said they wanted to sell to an investor because the house had some foundation problems, had some other issues. I go home super excited. Anybody ever have this happen? You go home, you tell your spouse, and they immediately poo-poo your exciting idea. Jimmy poo-pooed on my idea because he said, Linda, do you not realize we cannot go to the bank and get any money, and we don't have any money? So we can't buy this house. Well, I don't like the word no. I hate it. And like most of us, when we're silent or in the shower or in our sleep, if we really just think about it, pray about it, the answers are going to come to us. And that's what happened to me that night. When I woke up in the middle of the night, Lou Craft's name came to me, and that was my builder. And I said, I'm going to go ask Lou if he will do this with me. He has the money. Because I always say, when you're buying single family homes, you're either driving the money, living in it, eating it, wearing it, or somebody else has it. And in this case, we weren't living in it because we'd already traded our cars and houses down as low as we could get. But Lou had it. So I went to Lou and we bought the first 3 properties with Lou. And that got us on a journey. We've had over 200 single family homes. We're down to about 60 right now. The opportunity came along that we got recruited by Keller Williams. I said I never wanted to own a market center. Guess what? Now I own 4 of them. So you don't say the words never because you don't know. The person I was didn't want to own a market center. The person I became had learned the skills and was willing to try and take that risk and that opportunity. And then we love Keller Williams Profit Share as a wealth building tool because you don't have to have any money, any liability, any risk. And our lifetime amount of profit share from Keller Williams is over $16 million. So we try to get people to understand and treat Keller Williams Profit Share as one of your first businesses. That could be one of your very first businesses on the right side of that quadrant without the risk and without the liability. So love that. And then we had a management company that manages 42 single family rentals. 30 something of those were ours. And so this kind of just gives you an idea. We bought real estate commercial buildings in places where we had a business to put in them. We had 34. We just made a sale. We had 34 vacation rentals. We now have 5 left and we've got lots to build 4 more. So we're going to build back up. But Hilton Vacation Homes just came to us in the last 30 days. Well, they came to us before that, but we closed in the last 30 days on majority of those 34, and the rest of them they're leasing from us. So that was something we weren't expecting. We were just doing vacation rentals because it felt like a great opportunity to do it. And then all of a sudden this big Hilton Vacation comes along and says, hey, we'll write you a big check. We're like, okay, sounds good to me. And now we'll just go back and rebuild in that same area, back up to maybe either just a good cash flow business or somebody else buying that someday. Who knows, right? And then we have a strategy on personal homes. Some women collect shoes. I like to collect houses. In our personal homes, we really look for where's a place that's limited. We pick the water, either a lake or an ocean, or we pick a mountain. If we're going to buy an extra home for us, a vacation rental home not rental, but for ourselves, we pick those locations. One, because it will give us a chance to have experiences with our children and our grandchildren. And then number 2, those types of properties, they're not making a lot more of them. They're not making more mountains. They're not making more lakes. They're not making more oceans. So that's kind of our strategy behind that. And then we've moved into, I truly believe that God gives all of us our experiences, our successes, our failures, all the things he gives us so that we can come back and help other people. Right. And when you start trying to do that in large groups, you have to do it with what we call intellectual property, maybe online courses, some type of other products that people can actually take and learn from what you've done and accomplished so that they can do the same thing. And so that's kind of what we are tagging as intellectual property, because we have a real passion. One of my greatest passions is finding people who are excited and motivated about taking a journey and creating, an extraordinary life, and us helping them along that journey. Because it just gives me joy to know that, man, if we can do this, I know other people can do this too. So we just have to have a willing participant, right? All right. So I'm going to, did I go the wrong way? Let me go back. Action steps to get out of $600,000 debt, because I know a lot of you are going to have that question. So here's what we did. You have to first get uncomfortable with where you are. The pain of where you are has to be big, right? And that one was big. I have to be honest. I always like to say, my husband and I have been married 42 years. We almost didn't make it through this. It was not marriage enriching to owe people that much money and have the stress. And to be honest with you, I wasn't very nice about going to work, because I had never made more than minimum wage. And I was scared, and under anger is usually fear. So I wasn't happy. I wasn't nice because I was so afraid, because I don't know if I even have any skills to help Jimmy get out of this. Right. So it's not a great time. But the beautiful thing is, by having that pain and getting in that situation, you don't ever want to be there again. So it motivated me to go find answers to figure out how for us to never be there again, right? So we downsized our living expenses like houses and cars and things like that. We read books, Cash Flow Quadrant, mentioned that already. And we really focused on, there's only 3 ways to build wealth. Now with Keller Williams, we treat that profit share as a business, so it falls under the business category. We stink at stock, so we've never done very well at that. We don't even like it because we don't control very much of it. And it takes so much money to buy it. Whereas if I buy an investment property, there's a percentage I have to put down. If I do profit share, I don't have to put any money down. So there's advantages that and reasons why we didn't pick stocks. But we did pick real estate, and we did go back, eventually lick our wounds from owning businesses. And we did. And our first business was the McKissack Group. I took my real estate sales team, turned it over to someone else to run it, paid them to run it, and paid them a percentage of what they could grow the business to as incentive to grow it. Okay. So that was kind of how we got out of that $600,000 in debt. Our first goal on the rental families was to own 20 houses. That was it. Because Jimmy's 9 years older than me. And what you have to do is think about at what point do you want your freedom number to happen? Do you want it when you're 50? You want it when you're 60? When you want it when you're 40? Do you want it when you're 70? When do you want to have hit that freedom number? And then you work it backwards on what are your options. And so remember, our first freedom number was 250 or somewhere around 250,000 a year passive. And we needed those properties, those 20 properties, to cash flow after they were paid off about $1,000 a month, right? That was based on the current market, current rents, all that stuff. So that was our very first simple plan of building our wealth through real estate investing. Okay. All right. So here's how we took action and did that. And this is why I said you'll want these slides, because you can actually just go back and think through them for yourself. But we analyzed our situation of no cash and no ability to borrow, created an end result that we wanted to achieve, determined what our freedom number was, created our plan to get out of debt, which, by the way, we were really blessed because back then everything was crashing in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. So it was bad for everybody. So the banks would come to you and they would discount the notes that you owed them, and you could, at a discounted rate, pay off that note and not have to file bankruptcy. So we got real lucky. It took us a while to do it, but we were able to work something out with the banks and not have to file bankruptcy, which helped us later when we wanted to go get lines of credits to buy more houses. Found a property, found a partner who had the money, and then the credit to purchase it with us. And we just went into business with him because that was the only way he had the money. We had to do it, right? And then we used the market of the moment back in the foreclosures. When that crash happened, we were in a different position. In a downturn, you don't want to be afraid of the downturn. You want to be in a position to be excited about any downturns, because that's where some big opportunities come up, right? We did buy some houses with our key person, which was Brad, because he had not built any wealth. And so as part of our opportunity with him, as we purchased some properties together. And then we had a few other partners that my husband had that we bought properties with. But long-term, our goal wasn't to have a bunch of partners, but we would kind of, as some incentive, do partnerships with some people. Okay. And then here's our criteria at the time that we look at for buying real estate. And honestly, would still apply today. You just may need to put more money down in the current prices that we have. But our goal was to at least buy a property at least 10% below market value, right? Put at least 20% more down, because if I can get it to a 70 to 30 loan to value ratio, we don't have as much risk. We can sell that thing if we need to. It's probably going to be fine even through a downturn. So those were, because what we didn't want is to be over leveraged, because that's the investors that lose everything. They bet on appreciation. They don't buy the house because it's a good deal today. They buy it based on what they think the market's going to do. And then if the market doesn't do that, they're left out in the cold. So we never do that. We saw everybody in Texas lose all of their wealth in their houses because they had done that. We wanted it to cash flow at least a minimum, because remember, we're selling houses. We don't need to live off this money. We want to stock it up and just have the asset and somebody else paying for it, right? So we got a 15-year mortgage. If you're young enough, do a 30 and give yourself some space, but you can have ways to pay it off early by paying extra principals. But we did a 15-year because remember, my husband was 39 when we first started buying properties, and when we wanted this number by the time he was 60. So that's what dictated what our financing amount was. But 30 years, there's no problem doing them on 30 years and just figure out a way to pay them. We wanted 3 to 4 brick or stucco if possible. And then we wanted to buy in stable or appreciating neighborhoods if at all possible. This was just our strategy. Profit share came along because I had a really bad day in real estate. Anybody else ever had one of those where that's the day you go, God, remind me why I do this again? It's bad. I had one of those. Thank God I had one of those because I kept thinking I would just sell a bunch of houses, and I kept thinking that we just buy a bunch of rental property. So I wouldn't let anybody talk to me about Keller Williams profit share. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk about that thing until I had that bad day. And when I had that bad day, I thought, oh my gosh, what are some ways I can build wealth faster? So I happened to be in a mastermind with Gary and Dave Jinks, and it was our top producers. Gary still meets with top producers today, and I was in the original top group. And he went around the room and he was making all of us create a pro forma on a different business besides your real estate sales business. He was starting to talk about multiple streams of income. By the time it got around to me, mortgage was gone, title was gone, home inspection was gone, contractor was gone. I couldn't think of a thing. And I'm like, well, what am I going to pick? And lucky for me that day that everything else had been taken. And Dave Jinks and Gary look at me and said, why don't you do a pro forma on Keller Williams profit share? And that day changed my life. Because I had no idea where the money came from. I didn't know how to figure it. I didn't know anything because remember, I hadn't let them talk to me about it. So anything sounds good 4 months out, right? And if you really want to get yourself under pressure, offer to present something to your peers in 4 months from now. So I was under pressure because I didn't know how I was going to get these answers, but I knew I wasn't going to show up 4 months later and be stupid about it. So I found someone in the company. I went and taught for how to get 10 plus listings a month forever for him. And at night, he taught me profit share. And I'm going to tell you, from doing that pro forma, I came out a different person. I was so convicted that if I was going to be a leader in this company, I needed to understand this. I needed to take advantage of it. And I needed to help other people do it. That's how amazing it was. So I did the pro forma. I said, okay, well, I want to make $1 million. Now I'm sure they all laughed because there wasn't even $1 million in the whole profit share pool, but I wanted the million, right? So I did, and I didn't know that. So I did a pro forma on how do I make $1 million? And I was pretty shocked that the pro forma came out to get 20 people in my front line. Now these didn't actually come out exactly this way, but who cares by this point, right? 20 people help 20 get 20. And so I thought, well, gosh, surely I can do that. I love this company. I believe in it. It's changed my life. And so really, I just have to figure out how do I change lives. So I treated it as a business and moved forward. And then I started working on it as one of my actual businesses. I treated it like a business. And I realized that I'm just here to change people's lives like my life's been changed. And I'll kind of give you the formula that I use to do that in just a minute. Okay. But this business turned out to be one of my best businesses because look what it's paid us. We can't even figure the net worth on it because of the money it's paid us over the lifetime. So I'm going to share with you my secret formula. And don't tell anybody because this one's a secret. But it's the same formula I use to build my real estate business to over 200 transactions a year. So you guys could take this formula, and I'm telling you, anything you want to build, I think you could use this formula at work. It has for me. So what's the first thing I do if I'm building my profit share? I got to pick some relationships. Just like if I'm going to go get listings, I got to figure out who do I want to be a hero to? Who do I want to serve? Who do I want to do business with me? Once I figured out those in profit share, I would say, I tell everybody, don't get more than about 5 people because you want to work this muscle until it's a natural muscle for you. And you don't have time to do a lot more than that. And you just need to get in the habit of following this formula. So what I always say is pick a few people above your production, a few people at your production, and a few people below. Now, the ones you're going to get nervous about are the ones that are a little bit above your production, but don't get nervous because you have way more tools than they do. And the way so once we put those people up on a whiteboard, we list their names, we don't worry about anything else. The next thing I got to do is what's my validity to cause this person to even want to open the door to a relationship? Because think about it, time is our most valuable asset. And if somebody's asking me to do something, I ask, is that person valid to me? And is what they're asking me to do valid? See, Michelle's super valid to me. So what do you need me to do, Michelle? I'm here, I'll do it, right? She's already created that validity with me that I don't even question it. I just say, yeah, what do you need me to do, right? and let's get the schedule together. Well, you need to understand that whether it's a seller you're trying to get, whether it's a recruit you're trying to get, you've got to establish validity so that they open the door and say, okay, I'll build a relationship with you, right? So validity is one of those things that I think, I always say everybody has it, but nobody thinks they do. They're like, I don't have it. Yes, you do. You just don't know that you have it. You don't know how to use it yet. So your validity is your life story, your experiences, your successes, your failures, what classes you've taken, what books you've read. And look at you guys, how many books and things you've read. All this is validity for you. You just haven't figured it out yet, and you haven't learned how to use it. And for most people, we think what's easy for us is easy for everybody. And it's not necessarily true. There's always somebody that would love for you to help them with something that you know how to help them with, right? And so those things create validity, right? So let's say I've got 5 people on my board. Michelle is one of them. Then I've got to pick up the phone and I've got to call Michelle to get the conversation started. And so I've got 2 favorite ways to do that, and I'm going to share those with you in just a minute. And this is another reason why you want these, because you're gonna need them. So I'm going to start my conversation by 2 different ways. One is a compliment, but it's got to be genuine and real. People understand if you're not being authentic, so please don't do that. And if you think long and hard enough, you can think of a compliment for somebody. And then the other way I like is ask her thoughts or her ideas, because Oprah said the number one human desire she discovered in all her years of interviewing people is they want to be understood, not interpreted. Well, the way I help someone be understood is I actually get their ideas and their thoughts. And so I might, Michelle, if you would, can you role play with me while I'm on here?
Yes, ma'am.
So ring, ring.
Hi, this is Michelle.
Hey, Michelle, this is Linda. How are you?
Good, Linda. How are you?
Good. Listen, hey, I won't take up much of your time. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you closing 123 Main Street with me. You're so responsive, and I have to be honest with you, that's so refreshing in this current day and time that somebody is responsive as you are. You got back to us when you needed to. I know it was kind of rough in there, but we got that darn thing closed, and I just wanted to reach out and tell you how much we appreciate working with somebody like you.
Oh, Linda, thank you so much. It was great working with you too, and ditto. It was nice to be able to count on your response when we needed to get through that tough issue.
Yes. Well, hopefully you and I can do another deal together. Hey, while I have you on the phone, I'm just curious. This has been a crazy year. We've had a lot of stuff happen in this industry. I'm just curious I know I've some of our biggest challenges, right now. I'm just curious, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing with the market the way it is right now?
I think it's mindset, really just across the board, mindset with sellers, mindset with buyers, mindset with other agents. For me, it's just all about mindset right now.
So true. I mean, we really have to help people think about how they think, right? Because they might not be thinking in the way that best serves them. Hey, well, again, Michelle, I don't want to take up much of your time. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you. And if I run across anything that might help you with that challenge, if you won't be offended, I'll be happy to reach out and share it with you, because I know we've got the same issue.
And vice versa, Linda. Thank you.
All right. My pleasure. Have a great day. Now,
too.
what I've got some ideas. And if the conversation went longer, I might get a few more ideas of what is her value. But where you see the word value, you can also write the word value gap, because everybody has value gaps, things that are important to them, but there's a few real important gaps that are keeping them awake at night. And that's what I want to try to figure out. Because when I start dropping things into Michelle's value gap that she has going on, that's important to her, I create this amazing thing called reciprocity. Robert Cialdini talks about it in his book, Persuasion. And when you give to another human, do you know we're all actually wired in such a way that innately we start trying to figure out how we can give back to that other human? So all I'm going to need Michelle to do is, once I start dropping things and helping her, is create that reciprocity and beholdenness. And then I'm just going to ask her to take a bigger step, because here's the thing we know. None of us are good enough to make a seller sell, a buyer buy, or an agent join. But what we can do is get someone to self-discover. And the 3 best ways to get someone to self-discover is great questions that make them think, great stories that they can see themselves in, and the best way of all is to get them to experience what I want them to experience. So I always say this: if you've got a person on your list and you go, gosh, this person loves to give back to the community, they're big at giving back to the community, I wouldn't want to try to explain Red Day to that person. I would just want to invite them to Red Day. So as we build these relationships and we're dropping things into people's value gap, I'm going to think of Michelle when something comes along that I think would be valuable to her. And I'm going to say, hey, Michelle, I was just thinking about what you and I were talking about the other day. And I don't know if you'd be offended or not, but I actually found some great conversation pieces that are good to be having with sellers right now in the current market. Would that be something you'd be interested in? Now,
Yeah.
after I give her those things without any strings attached, I'm not talking to her about Keller Williams because Keller Williams is not important to her. She's important to her. Over time, now I might say, hey, Michelle, I know that you and I both have been talking about this, and I've given you a couple of things and hopefully those have helped, but we're having a great class. And in this class or in this panel, two of the people on the panel are great, strong listers, and they're having great conversations with their sellers right now. And if you wouldn't be offended, I'd love to for you to get a ticket and go with me. So I'm just going to keep moving her to a place where she has a chance to self-discover that, oh my gosh, this has got some great value that could benefit me and my family. And I'm just going to do that over and over and over again. And the unfortunate part is the last part, which is time. I don't get to decide how long it takes Michelle to get it. That's the hard part. I want Michelle to get it in the first 30 seconds, but she doesn't, right? She gets it when she self-discovers that really, gosh, the tools over there are so much better. Or she starts to go back to her office and she thinks, well, gosh, nobody cares about me over here like Michelle does. I mean, why am I even here, right? So that's real quick, kind of the formula, and you can ask questions about that. But here's some of the reasons that we don't do profit share. I've found in all of our profit share classes. You either think I have to work on my sales business or I have to work on my profit share. And I'm going to tell you it's an and. If you are going to prospect tomorrow, there's somebody you could invite that would get value out of watching you prospect. If you are going to a class tomorrow and you took someone with you, they would get value out of that class. So let's stop thinking either or, and let's just think and. What does my schedule look like tomorrow? And who could I add value to by letting them experience it also, right? 2, got here sooner. We have a great story about my son's little friend from elementary that grew up in our family and saw our life and wanted it. So he got his real estate license and then hated selling real estate. So he called Press Up one day and said, hey, I hate selling real estate, but could I do the profit share thing? And they set up a website and he has career coaching calls every day that are all new people all across the country. And in little over 4 years, he went from $0 in profit share to $50,000 a year. So please don't tell me that I get all the profit share because I'm here sooner. He's making way more money in profit share than I did in 4 years. So please don't let that belief hold you back from taking advantage of profit share as a business. I'm not a recruiter. Great, because this isn't a recruiting thing. This is a pour into other people, get them to self-discover, then they join. There is no magic script. Trust me, if there was, I would know it, right? It's too late for me. Maybe you feel like you're at a place in your career, but would an extra $50,000 in 4 or 5 years like Nick did, would that be okay? You don't know how long you're going to live. So we can never say it's too late. It's only too late when we never tried at all. And then number 5, I don't understand profit share. You don't have to understand profit share. Matter of fact, it's better if you don't, because people don't join. They join, number 1, for our training. And the reason they join for our training is because they've got a value gap that they feel like that training will help them with. So they don't care about profit share, understanding it. Very few, I don't think I've ever had to explain profit share to someone. And if you did happen to have some amazing person that realizes how valuable passive income is, you just put them with your team leader and they explain profit share. So don't let that one hang you up either, right? On why you're not building your profit share. So I want you to understand this. Most agents believe that their relationship with their buyers and sellers are way more important and more valuable than the relationship with the agent on the other side. And I'm going to tell you that would have cost me $16 million if I'd have kept believing that. You've got to treat these other agent relationships like they are as valuable as they really are. I would tell you that I've had more people that I've brought to this company thank me and tell me I've changed their life than I ever had buyers and sellers say, thank you, you changed my life. Now they say, thank you, best real estate deal ever. I'll tell all my family friends to use you, but I'm not changing their lives, right? So let's move that up on, but here's the thing, relationships take time. That's why I don't want you to have more than about 5 people on your list if you're going to choose this as one of your income streams. It takes time, and it's like scuba diving. We got to go a little deeper. We can't just water ski on top of the surface. We got to go a little deeper with people. And then remember, the of all validity is the ability to get people to know you, like you, and trust you enough to open the door to a relationship. That's all you're asking. And you're not asking them for anything. You're going to give and give and give. My friend Joe Polish says life gives to the giver and takes from the taker. So all we got to do to build any big business is just wake up and figure out how we can give, right? So don't worry about what you're going to get. Just worry about what you're going to give. And then your validity can come from your accomplishments, knowledge, language, experience, classes. And we kind of talked about this. So I just want you to kind of get an idea that validity comes from lots of different places. It doesn't have to just be you. And then as far as it pertains to the value or value gap, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. But the key part of this quote that people miss is, what do they want? Not what do I assume they want or what I think they should want. What do they really want? And I got to ask good questions to really discover what they really want so that I can help them. So you don't get to decide what value is to a recruit, only they do. And the only way you're going to get it is to learn to ask great questions and get them to build that relationship deep enough that they trust you to tell it to them. And then on the time part, if you will build deep relationships, have validity, and provide value over time, you're going to recruit great agents. You can't not do it. So you could continually have this going over time, because over time, it's going to feed people out that want to make a change or want to add value to their businesses and their career. And remember, the way people feel love is time. So here are the way we normally recruit. And one of them is we are the Kalahari Dung Fighter. If you don't know what that is, look it up on History Channel or the YouTube later. It is actually a creature that when it gets excited, it flings its dung on anything around it. And honestly, if we're not careful, that's what we feel like when we're trying to talk to somebody about Keller Williams, and we don't want to do that. It doesn't work. We might have had a few other companies that are revenue shares do this to us. Think about how you feel. It doesn't feel good. Instead, they want to know what's in it for me. That's all they care about. And you flinging what you think about the company doesn't do any good, right? The other one that we try is sell and tell. Well, let me just sell and tell you how great this is. That one doesn't work either. The magic script doesn't work. The pre-deciding, you want to be real careful. One of my greatest potential recruits was a lady that named Terry Morler out of California that I pre-decided in advance that she was not going to join us. And guess what? She joined under somebody else. And I'm so happy she was with it. She's with us because she's an amazing person. But I was real sick that I pre-decided that somebody wouldn't ever join us. Okay. And I'm giving you my 2 scripts here. I already told you about those. So we're going to go past those. And I gave you an example of that script that I used with Michelle so that you can have it. But I don't want to take up your time just reading it to you. So, all right. And that's the other one, the expertise. And here's examples. That's why you want to download these so that you have them. All right. So our sales business, how did we turn that into a true-fledged business that wasn't self-employed income? What we did is we actually found somebody that could actually replace me, even though I never thought they could. I still don't think they can, but guess what? They've been doing it for 20-something years, so I guess they can, right? So I built a brand first that when people thought of real estate, they thought of me, because it has to be, you're not going to get somebody come into your business and grind out the telephone all the time. It's not going to happen for you to step away from it, and they're going to at some point say, well, why am I grinding for you? I'm going to go grind for myself, right? So my business was built more on brand than it was on knocking out the phones, right? I created and worked very diligently a database. I built a team all the way to the 7th level. When we actually met Gary Keller, we were already at level 5, if you've read the Red Book, but we didn't know we were at level 5 because no one had told us. So I took it all the way to 7, which is where you actually use the career visioning process and you go find somebody and bring them into your team and get your life and your time back to go create all these other assets. See, because you're not going to be able to create all these other assets if 180% of your time is grinding out deals. So that's why we got to get leverage through people first so that we can have some time and space to take our time and our money and go buy some other assets. Okay. So I found someone to take over my business and I put them through the career visioning process. They seemed like the right person. And then after 20 something years of them running it for me and me getting semi-passive income, we wound up selling that business to him for over 1.1 million. So really, guys, you're sitting on an asset if you treat it like that and you build it in that way. So, if nothing else, your real estate business can become your asset. I became a market center owner. To be honest with you, I never wanted to own a real estate franchise. All my friends that owned Remax franchises hated it. They said brokers got broker and I don't want to do that. So, but Gary Keller is very persuasive and he explained to me why we should own a KW office and how business money coming in is different than cash flow sales money is. And that made sense to me. So we said, what the heck? I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do, but I'll try it. And now of course, today we own 4 market centers. So never say never because.
Hey, Linda, quick question. This is Giovanni out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Is he still promoting your name after he bought it?
Yeah, great question. I actually trademarked my name because one of my coaches told me to, and I thought, well, that's the dumbest idea ever. And thank God I did. Because when we got to that fork in the road, guess what his last name already was? McKissack. So how confused would the consumer have been if he'd just gone out on his own as another
Right.
McKissack? Thank God that coach told me to trademark my name.
Right.
So
That's
for
awesome.
him to get my name and my database, he had to buy it. Right. So yes. He doesn't use me at all. I'm nowhere on any of the pictures or anything else. I'm about to run a beta test of a program through them, but my picture and my name won't be on anything. If I
Well,
could
he
say
almost
real estate
lucked out
again,
then.
huh?
He almost lucked out then, you could say, with the same last name, keeping it easy.
Yeah, he almost did if I hadn't had a good, smart coach. It would have made honestly, to be honest with you, both of our lives would have been more difficult to do it that way because he wouldn't have had the database, but I also wouldn't have had the person. So it really worked out for the best for both of us, right?
Right.
It really
Awesome.
did.
Thank you.
All right. And then we built relationships and connections for referrals and for future customers by being on master faculty. And I learned a lot from being on master faculty, to be honest with you. So we opened the market center where our team sold first because our broker sold to Century 21. And if I wanted to stay with KW, which I did, we had to be the ones to own it. So Gary talked us into doing that. And then within probably about a year, we opened another market center. Brad took over the local team. I started flying to Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky to build Keller Williams region there. And then sometimes people would have an opportunity to buy into a market center up in this region, but they didn't want to do it by themselves or they didn't have all the money. So we would buy into it with them. Plus people they want to believe that you believe in what you're trying to get them to do. And so part of the way I get other people to believe it is I do it too, right? Which I do very much believe in it. And I would say to people, how many other franchise people are sitting across the table from you and they're not trying to sell you something they don't own themselves? That ought to be your first clue. If they're trying to sell you Coldwell Banker franchises or Remax or whatever, and they don't own any, I'd be something wrong with that franchise, right? So it really became a good advantage for me too, but I wasn't going up there intended to own any part of their market centers because I really felt like it should be their opportunities. And some of them we eventually would sell out to the people that had earned the right and all that stuff. But we really pretty much only buy in now if somebody needs our help or we need to turn one around or something like that. So master the career visioning process. That's been one of the greatest gifts we can get with KW because once you learn that process, you learn how to attract talented people because businesses are just people making you money. All right. And then let's see, what's this one? Oh, crap. Okay. Commercial real estate. We pretty much only own businesses that we have a business in. Okay. And I'm going to get to the bottom of this so we can go ahead and ask questions. And then vacation rentals, I'll tell this one real quick and then we'll cut it off. We actually got into that by mistake. We teach in our market centers our hold process. And someone brought their friend who was a stay-at-home mom. And she came to a couple of classes we taught. And then we met her at a football game because our sons were in the same grade. And she told us that she'd bought like 8 properties and we're like, good Lord, this girl's talented. So I started asking her to meet with me once a month. I said, hey, let's meet once a month. We'll share ideas. We'll, help each other if we need to. We'll hold each other accountable to keep building wealth on the investment side. And about 8 months after doing that, she came to us and said, I short sold 2 cabins in Branson, Missouri, but I can only afford to buy one. Do y'all want to buy one? So there's so much value in relationships, guys. And if you're just giving and you're not worried about where you're going to get, you're going to be so surprised by what you actually do get. It's going to be pretty impressive. Okay, so I'm going to take this down now, and we're going to just, let me see how, okay, where is that to stop sharing screen? There we go. Okay. Oh, let's stop share. There we go. All right. So what I want to do now, because I really want to give you guys a chance to ask specific questions. What is something that is the one question that's holding you back from doing exactly what you need to be doing, which is your next natural door that's trying to open for you to build wealth? So you're all probably all at different places. You got a different plan. Some of you are wanting to do investment properties. Some of you are more interested in profit share. So if we could, let's open it up for questions. And Michelle, if you want to put them in the chat or you want to open them up, whatever you want to do, what works best for you guys?
Either way, George Kelly has his hand raised, so raising your hand is always a good way. And then, or I will monitor the chat channel as well. So whatever
Okay.
you guys feel comfortable with.
All right, let's do it then. George, you go.
So I've been with KW for 12 years now. I can say that for a very long portion of that, I have not actually focused on profit share. It is just something that sort of, I got my team, I got the things that sort of come from it. And it's basically been the last year that I've thought to myself, okay, I didn't focus on it enough over the last 10. I'm not going to make that mistake over the next 10. And we have K-Score available in both Pennsylvania and New Jersey for full free real estate school. So if somebody like yourself was in my position and you had that opportunity and you live right next to both states, how are you going about building that pipeline of people or thinking along those lines?
Well, that's a beautiful question, and I'll tell you why. 70% of our agents every year are brand new agents. And guess what's the one thing they all have in common?
They all need to go to real estate school.
They all need to name a sponsor.
There you go.
That's the most important one, because a lot of people can go to real estate school and still not ever do anything with it, right? So that's how we need to think about it, is how do I get in the middle of that funnel of all those people that are actually ready to do something? They just need to be hooked up with a market center. So you got a couple options. You can work your schools locally if they let you do that. I don't know. In Texas, they used to, and I don't know if they do anymore. You could create that website that Press and Nick created for Nick. You could go to one of the webinars that Press gives. And I think you guys have had him, haven't you, Michelle? You've had to talk about it. They created websites that are already like done for people. All they got to do is look up on their calendar and say who's scheduled that day to do career counseling. Some people are having great success with that. I would just say, I want to always be working with the existing agents. I want to always be following that formula. But at the same time, if 70% of our people are new at any given time, how do I get in the middle of that? And either cook something up where you can go to your real estate school, run your own Indeed ads, put that website together like Press and Nick did, join the websites Press has that have already done. Just say, I'm going to do something, because that's a large pool of people that have to name a sponsor, right? And what I love about that is sometimes our people that we have in our downline are from so long ago and we've done nothing since. We want to keep that growth going. So I just I would always work the what I call the influential agent formula, which I gave you. Attraction formula is what we call it, because it'll attract real estate business or it'll attract agents for you. And then I would also say, what's my next easiest plan for me to get in the middle of some of those new people? Let me think about this. To me, the hardest part, I don't know what y'all's formulas are for doing it, but you got to figure out, if you take people, like I just got my stretch lab lady through K-Score. It's perfect because I didn't do anything but hand her off to the office. But there is a little bit of an issue of the percentage that actually do it to come out the other end. What's that touching look like in the meantime? That's a long time to have to keep up with somebody. And you're going to get busy and you're not going to do it. So they got to have a system that you can drop them into so that somebody else is keeping up with them and dripping on them. because that will suck the life out of you if you're trying to do that. And you will say, this isn't worth it. I'm going to keep selling real estate. Right. So yeah, that's what I would do, is just kind of figure out which one. You keep one going all the time and then figure out, how do I get in the middle of that? Which one makes the most sense for me to get in the middle of that? The one thing that I've noticed about the people that are working, the new agents with a system, they don't even have to talk to that person until they're 2 weeks out from their test. So they're not bogging down their system. So whatever you do, make sure that you've got some kind of system that will be doing that for you. Because otherwise it would suck the life out of you to try to keep up with people all the way from the beginning of K-Score. Now you could run some ads or do some different things like that. And then if your office has a good system, just drop them into that system. That would work too.
I want to add some, I just dropped it in the chat channel too. Sometimes we get lost in acronyms. So K-Score is our option for how we help people go through the real estate training. So what George is talking about and what Linda was talking about is our online real estate school that we offer. So if you are in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, you can get your real estate license for free by going through the K-Score process. So if this is something that you have people that, I have a brother or a sister or a friend or a family member or someone that I love and, would love to help them get into real estate, reach out to your team leader or your MCA and they can walk you through your process for how your office does that. Because a lot of your offices will have scholarship programs that you can connect to. I think this is one of the most underutilized tools that we have, by the way. Because it's just something that it's not as socialized as I think that it can be. So I just wanted to make sure that I saw some faces like, what are they talking about? K-Score is real estate school.
And the truth is, it's no cost to them, but your offices are paying $500 a month to get it. So it's no cost to whoever you want to do it. So
and no cost to you. Yep.
No cost to you or to them. Right.
Right. So Roxanne, I see that you have your hand raised from KW Pittsburgh.
I do. Thank you, Linda, for your time. Love all your great ideas. My question is on your vacation rentals.
Yes.
Did you VRBO, Airbnb, or just hand it off to someone to manage that for you?
We actually had a girl in Texas that was willing to move to Missouri. And the thing about vacation rentals is they're very labor intensive. They really are. And so you really need a good person, but her and her husband does the maintenance side or did the maintenance side. We still have 5. They're still doing some of it, but she did the management of it and we did VRBO, Airbnb. We did all those. And then we had our own system, but she did oversee all of that. And she oversaw the cleaning crew that cleaned and we subbed those out and then he did the maintenance and stuff. So yeah, we had a full crew there with that many properties. So the thing about vacation rentals is you could probably handle one, but once you scale them, you're going to have to get a team on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. And you taught me maps 21 years ago when I started with Keller Williams, and I still have my book you gave me. So thank you.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm glad we're both still hanging in here.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
You bet. My pleasure.
Awesome. Linda, thank you so much for being here today. We are at time. It went so fast. We are already over time and I want to honor everyone's time. It sounds like there might be some issues with the link that are in the slide. It says it's referencing 10x versus 2x and not going. So
Okay.
we'll get
Wait, let me get my let me just reach out to my tech person because I have no idea. And what I'll do is tell him and he will get them corrected. And Michelle will work with you that gets handled so that we do that. So when you're going to it. Hey, Andy, they're saying that the QR code for the slides, which you know what I might have done. Hang on one second. Let's see. Let me see what I've done. Oh, you know what I did? I bet I put let's see if I did this. Let's try this code right here. Let's see. Let me, okay, let's try and see if this code, where's Zoom? Where's Zoom? There we go.
It should go.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Let me share my screen real quick and make sure this might be the right one. I might have clicked on the wrong.
Okay.
On the wrong thing. So let
I
me
love that he picked up the phone like as soon as you called.
Oh yeah,
him.
he knows. He knows I'm in trouble. I'm like, help me here,
That's
help me, help me.
amazing.
He
That's
knows. She's on her own. It's very scary. Can y'all see that?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, well, we're gonna get there. Um,
We'll also make sure that they're dropped in the Facebook group and sent out afterwards, everyone, if you do have to hop.
Yeah.
And as
um,
Linda is doing that, so Linda's going to be sharing the screen, but as Linda is doing that, like we do with all of our guests, let's drop some love for Linda in the chat channel, y'all, and thank her for her time and all the things that she brought to the table today. I have so many notes written down about single family rentals, treating it like a business, making sure
Hey,
that
Andy,
your business is part
I'm
of
gonna
what
just get you to get her the correct QR code because the one.
And then we also talked about building a sales team. She walked us through 5 different steps: building her brand first, creating and working a database, building out the 7th level organization, hiring someone to run that business for you, and then selling that business for over $1 million isn't a bad gig. The recording will be sent out and it will be posted on the Facebook page, like all of our other recordings that we have. It will most likely be sent out later, either today or tomorrow, for all of you. Linda, thank you so much for being here with all of us today. We really, really appreciate it.
You can go to Made for More, get Andy, madeformore/go.
madeformore.com/go.
Madeformore.com/go. You can get them that way too. But
Awesome.
Michelle, if we're having trouble, be sure and reach back out to me. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time
Thank
today.
you, Linda. Thank you, everyone. See you next
Go
month.
change lives.